Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Today we have an exceptional person on the program today, and we have Cynthia Vargas. She's the Communications Manager for the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. She is an exemplary person, and ladies and gentlemen, Cynthia Vargas is a person that you should know. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy that you've taken time from your very busy schedule to be with us on Community Focus to talk to Lake County about the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. Lake County is approximately, 750,000 to 800,000 people.
That's correct.
But I don't know how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listen to the program, but I understand we have a pretty good audience there. First of all, Cindy, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
I actually was born and raised in Waukegan.
Okay.
I was born here in Waukegan, and my parents are immigrants. They immigrated from the country of Mexico in the early to mid-'70s.
Okay.
I was born in 84, graduated from Waukegan High School in 02, went on to college to the University of Wisconsin Parkside, graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I am now really involved with the Lake County community. I'm working for the Lake County State's Attorney, Michael Nierheim, and as his communications, public relations manager there, and basically have learned a lot from my own community. And my focus was always to make a difference and basically touch our people's lives here in Lake County and make a difference.
Cynthia, what piqued your interest in criminal justice?
You know, when I was young, I always found criminal justice to be very interesting. The mystery, the clue, the understanding what happens behind a person that commits a crime. What triggers that situation? What traumas have caused this person to commit a crime, or what has led this person to commit a crime? Whether it's as gruesome as a murder, or whether it's as small as a misdemeanor case. I'm not saying that criminal cases are small, but in terms of that measurement. What leads a person to commit an act that they know is wrong, basically. So I think that question I wanted answered as a child. I would watch Cops all the time. I would watch, all of the law shows and police officer shows. And basically what piqued my interest is that question. And then, growing up in the Waukegan community, North Chicago community, Zion communities, I started seeing that my community had a lot of need. And because of the need, they started, crimes were being committed, and they were making bad decisions in their life. And I thought to myself, I don't want to walk on that path. I don't want to have to worry about a record. I don't have to worry about me having to serve time for any situation, whether it's in jail or prison. That really scared the jeepies out of me. So I decided that I'd go the other route and help my peers out by being a voice for them within the criminal justice community, by hearing out their needs and one by one changing a life.
Now, how long have you been a part of the Lake County State's Attorney's Office? State's
Attorney Nierheim was elected in 2012. He was sworn in December 3rd, 2012. State's Attorney Nierheim, I was his first hire.
Oh.
He hired me on January 3rd, 2013. So I've been in the office since then.
Tell us a little bit about the structure of the State's Attorney's Office.
The State's Attorney's Office has basically two big branches. It's the civil division and the criminal division. The civil division essentially serves as the law firm for the county. So basically everything that, when the county gets sued, whether it's the sheriff's office, whether it's our office, whether it's any office, our office represents those cases, which is the civil division on the 5th floor. The criminal division is separated into different divisions. It's basically we have the general felony, we have the gang and narcotics division, we have the misdemeanor and traffic division, we have the specialized investigations division, and then we have the special victims division, we have the juvenile justice division, we have the administrative division and the executive division, and then we have the felony review division. So all of these divisions basically, have their own job, have their own duties. The misdemeanor division only deals with misdemeanor cases. The misdemeanor and traffic division, they deal with both. The, general felony, we deal with, our felony thefts or felony, cases. And our felony review division basically sees cases that are domestic related they basically are the department that approves the cases for the procedure of criminal justice, for them to proceed. So they are the ones that are in charge to make sure that the crime fits the elements under the Illinois Criminal Code to be able to charge. If that crime does not meet the elements of the law, then we basically tell police officers that are calling in for these crimes. After an investigation is done, our officers call in and we say, you know what, you don't have enough evidence. We cannot charge this individual, or this is missing. This case doesn't look right. Maybe we should keep looking, because we want to make sure that we are charging at a correct manner.
Now, if that individual is not charged for criminal activity, then the family still can participate in the civil law, civil division or civil prosecution, right?
No, our civil is basically non-public. So our civil division does not assist the public. It assists the county. Okay. If it would be a civil matter, one would have to seek private counsel.
Okay, right. Well, actually, the state's attorney has a great responsibility, as you mentioned here. Was he an attorney with the state's attorney's office before he ran for state
Yes,
attorney?
He actually interned in our office 5 times. He was an intern. He did serve as an assistant state's attorney in our misdemeanor division, and then move up the scale from there. So he has extensive experience as an assistant state's attorney as well as a defense attorney. He did a lot of private defense cases, a lot of domestic, a lot of felony, or one of our bigger cases. So he knows both sides. He understands both sides of the spectrum, and that's why we're very lucky to have him as a state's attorney.
Ladies and gentlemen, the eloquent voice you're hearing is that of Cynthia Vargas. She's the communications manager from the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. We're very happy to have her here to tell us some things that we probably had not heard before concerning what is happening within the State's Attorney's Office. Cynthia, tell us about the State's Attorney initiatives. I know when he first got elected, he started off running. Because he could do that because he had experience within the State's Attorney's Office, right?
Right.
But tell us about some of his initiatives.
So our first initiative, and I think it's one that we have actually put a lot of extensive work in, and that's the Lake County Opioid Initiative. And the Lake County Opioid Initiative basically aims to save the lives and provide treatment and prevention education for people who are addicted to substances such as heroin and opioids. Okay. And this initiative basically has equipped 42 police departments so far, 43 maybe, with naloxone. And naloxone is a serum. It's a drug that saves the life of a person when they're overdosing or nearly to death, dying. They're nearly at death. So we've trained at least 43 departments through the opioid initiative. So they are able to carry the serum in their squad cars because it takes time for paramedics to get there. Our first responders are always our police officers. And so for them to wait and watch an overdose take place and not be able to move forward and do something to save a life was kind of a waste. So what we did is we took the initiative to go ahead and get this basically in the squad cars of our police officers to be able to save lives. To date, we've saved 9 lives as a result of this project. And we received donations. This was all done without taxpayer money. So basically, we received donations from an anonymous donor, from Medline, and from Kaleo Pharmaceuticals, which is out in West Virginia. And Kaleo has been working really extensively with us because the preferred administration for police officers through this initiative is the EpiPen, and it's basically a tool that serves as a syringe, but it's like a little box. And this little box basically speaks to the officer and tells them how to administer the naloxone to bring the person back from death, essentially. And so that's one of the major projects that this has done. We've also working on the prevention and education end, where we're trying to educate our youth as to why they shouldn't sell drugs, what are the consequences of selling drugs, and what are the consequences of consuming these drugs, what are the dangers, what are you getting yourself into. So we're looking at both ends of the spectrum to reduce crime in our county, as well as save lives and engage our youth, into basically working with the justice system and creating those relationships which is very important. Another initiative is the Knowledge is Power program. where we're targeting youth at high-risk areas of the county. And basically, we target them. We work with different schools, not only at high-risk youth, but, basically youth in general who are interested in pursuing a career in criminal justice. And the Knowledge is Power program brings these children through our office, and we basically give them a taste as to what it is to work at the state's attorney's office. What is it to work in the criminal justice world? They get a tour of the Lake County Jail. They get to meet the state's attorneys, the assistant state's attorney. They get to meet correctional officers. They get to see how, unfortunately, the inmates are living within the jail and why they should divert from that life. And so, they get a taste, and as they get to meet a judge. Last time they got to meet Honorable Judge Strickland, who they spoke with. And the kids really enjoy this. They get interviewed by Lake County Television. And so we really open the doors for them to be able to participate in this program, to be able to get an insight of the criminal justice field, for them to pursue a career. And then at the end of the day, have a voice and make that change that everyone is striving for. Because now they're involved in this career and they have the opportunity to do so, right? So that's kind of like the outcome that we're looking for with this program. And then we also have the alternative prosecution program that he's getting ready to launch. And the alternative prosecution program is for nonviolent, usually first-time offenders. And basically what it's going to do once it's launched, it's basically going to give people that have essentially made a mistake, made a wrong choice, got arrested, are going to be able to, if they follow through with public service hours or whatever the sentence may be, the case will be wiped off their record so they can move forward with a life that's full of self-sufficiency. They can get a job. They don't have a conviction on their record. That's another initiative that State's Attorney Nierheim is working on, the alternative prosecution program. And, of course, the wrongful conviction, right? The Citizens Advisory Board. Okay. And with that, we know we've screened a few cases at this point. I don't have the number of cases. However, as you know, we have done some exonerations, a couple exonerations under his administration as a result of the case review panel to start the prevention of wrongful convictions. And then that goes back to our felony review division, working with them closely, providing them with the proper trainings so this gets prevented from the beginning of the investigation.
This is fantastic. I know you mentioned about efforts of being to help the youth, because once a youth get a felony, and it's very difficult to erase that felony from their record, right? It's
difficult financially, emotionally, and even just to move forward. When someone begins to start a life, they begin to have a family. They begin to realize, man, I made a lot of mistakes back when I was young, and now I'm trying to get a job to support my children and my wife, and now, or vice versa. And now, because of my record, I have to go expunge it. I have to pay all this money. I have to hire an attorney. I have to go through all these hoops to live a normal life. And so the alternative prosecution program and the Knowledge is Power program, we're hoping that helps eliminate or divert at least one life at a time from the continuance of a career criminal, what we call, which is basically, I don't like labels because we're all human, right? And State's Attorney Nierheim believes the same. But, figuratively speaking, we want to, on our youth to understand that there's second chances, that the criminal justice system, at least under the administration of State's Attorney Nierheim, that we believe in second chances, that we believe in change, that we believe in that we're very, very strong with the entire Lake County community, because we want to create a safe environment for our individuals. And this is only done through education and through leadership and through mentoring.
The uniqueness of the Domestic Violence Council, what is the...
So the Domestic Violence Council basically comes together quarterly, and they meet to hear the needs of our victims at a domestic violence level, right? So what is the criminal justice, what are the gaps in terms of the needs that are needed to be closed in the criminal justice field for our victims, right? So, for example, we just, early when I came on, they were working on a situation where, to protect the lives of our victims, what are the measures we need to take, because we need to stop losing lives to domestic violence, right? Okay. And so all of these different situations are being analyzed at the Domestic Violence Council, and it's basically a roundtable that meets with all of the people that are involved in our community, a safe place, Zacharias, Lake County State's Attorney's Office, Vista Medical Center, Condell Medical Center. So it's not only us managing the table, it's a collaboration of a team working together to bring a difference to our victims of Lake County. And then not only them, how are we going to be able to help, the person that's been accused or charged with a domestic violence crime, to be able to give them anger management through a safe place, to be able to help them be self-sufficient and educate them on a different way of living, a different way of treating their wives or their children, right? So again, it goes back to education, mentorship, and leadership, and the Domestic Violence Council focuses just on that.
This is fantastic. I know another initiative is Blue Kids of Lake County.
Blue Kids Lake County is an initiative that focuses against child abuse. And Child Abuse Prevention Month is April. And so we did launch our kickoff, March 30th, I believe, was our kickoff, March 31st, around those dates. And then our program was actually not long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, where we had, Chairman Aaron Lawler speak. We had State's Attorney speak, Nierheim. We had a few key speakers, Tony Beltran from Lake County Health Department, the executive director, speak on the issue against child abuse prevention. And so how can we work together? Again, is a collaboration. The Lake County State's Attorney's Office is big on collaboration to reduce the trauma that's happening in our community. And child abuse is one that is near and dear to us because children are little people that can't be defended on their own. They can't defend themselves. So we're their voice. We're their protectors. And prosecuting these cases is very heavy on our assistance. And when one has to prosecute a case like this, we have to be the voice for that child in the justice system. And that's why it's so near and dear to us, because these are kids that we're defending because they don't know how to do it themselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Cynthia Vargas, Communications Manager, Lake County State's Attorney's Office. And by the way, the Lake County State's Attorney is Michael Nierheim.
Correct.
That he's been in office for 2 years? He's
been in office a little over 2 years. And yes, he is up for re-election in 2016.
Okay. Tell us this, Cynthia, how prevalent is family violence? Is it limited to just one segment of the population?
No, family violence is, it happens everywhere, just like crime. It happens everywhere. It's something that's very unfortunate, and it's, usually family violence is considered domestic when it's in the same household. However, it happens even outside the household. And so we've taken an initiative to look at not only the domestic violence issue and the child abuse issue, but as in a family as a whole. How can we bring the families together, keep them intact? Or, the Family Visitation Center in Mundelein is basically something that came out of these councils, the Domestic Violence Council, the Sexual Assault Council, and the Family Violence Coordinating Council, where we wanted a safe place where parents can interchange their children without being fearful of what one is going to do to the other. And so, all of these councils are basically put together to look, to be able to strategize around all of these issues and make a more peaceful connection. And it's going to sound a little distorted, but make a more peaceful connection between the person that's been charged with the crime and the victim when there's little ones involved as a family, or even when a grandmother needs education on guiding their youth who has issues of abandonment. They're raising the child, and so working with grandparents who are raising their grandchildren is a big thing under that, and teaching grandparents about cyber safety, about all of the new technologies that are happening as part of all of that. So, strategically, we're building these different models and different projects to be able to directly serve the needs of our communities.
Before we end the program, Cynthia, I want to find out from your perspective the importance of cultural diversity in the workplace.
To me, as a woman and as a Latina, it's very, very imperative that we have cultural diversity in the workplace. One, because you have a different perspective coming in. You don't have the tunnel vision where, culturally we're all raised differently. Okay. And so we can bring many different perspectives to create a better dynamic in our office. Cultural diversity brings difference. It brings unity, it brings education, and it brings new projects to our office to be able to effectively touch those in our community, because a person that's culturally sensitive to a situation can understand even the language or the barriers that another individual is going through. And so working from the state's attorney's office perspective, and specifically in our Latino and African American communities, I can relate as an individual, and I can say, I can speak and I can say, maybe this is what we need in our communities. How can we fix the situation? parents are immigrating not because they want to. They're not getting here illegally because they want to. It's because they don't have a guaranteed check. They're living they're living in a box in Mexico, and they're looking for a better life. And so how can we fix these situations, versus in our countries and here in the States, so we can work on both ends of the spectrum and make it better, even as law enforcement. So, a lot of cultural diversity is very important in the workplace.
Tell us how important it is to have cultural diversity in the State's Attorney's Office.
It's very important. And I know that...
Because here you have prosecutors, that and primarily minority population are going through. Right?
Yes. Well, yeah, we do. And, a lot of this, the situations that arise in the State's Attorney's Office, we're very, very tangent with. And we make sure, one, that the person, whether they're purple, green, we don't look at color. When a case is being investigated at our office, all we know is a name and a date of birth. When a case is being investigated. We don't know, when a case is being investigated, if the person's white, green, black or blue, or brown.
Well, what steps are you taking to make your office more diverse?
So we're doing the Knowledge is Power program.
Okay.
We are working with the Alternative Prosecution program to reach out to our communities. We work really closely with our defense attorneys to be able to work on these cases and basically that are being prosecuted and basically work toward a community that we're going to be able to invite back into the law enforcement world, right? So the key thing is, how do we get our the minorities to apply? How do we get the African American and Latino community to apply to these jobs? How do we get them to be confident and say, I am deserving of this job? And how do we get them back from Cook County once they go to law school? That's the most important thing. We have to work on getting them back and promising them that there's a future here in Lake County, because, the salaries in comparison to other counties may be higher. I don't know what the case is, but the staff with many cultural backgrounds, we meet the needs of the community, and that's basically the target.
You mentioned about the community, and in the last seconds that we have, I'd like to mention that the state's attorney, Michael Nahum, he's very active in the community. I noticed that he takes part in activities, the North Chicago Exchange Club.
Coalition to Reduce Recidivism.
Right.
We are in FIST, So
he's not invisible to the community. Well, I want to thank you very much, Cynthia. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking again with Cynthia Vargas. He's the communications manager for Lake County State's Attorney's Office, Michael Nahum, Waukegan, Illinois. And we want to show you that the Lake County State's Attorney's Office is not invisible. You're involved in lecturing, or going out making lectures to community groups, and you invite people to come into the State's Attorney's Office.
We have an open door policy.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.